Able Contemporary Gallery presents multicolor lithography using both stones and photoplates. Print, Blind Luck by Barry Carlsen, 2025. This video is produced for Able Contemporary Gallery's exhibition, How'd They Do That? July 2025. The process begins by graining the lithostone for the print. Removing old imagery and resurfacing the lithostone begins with a levigator, water, and carborundum grits ranging from 80 to 220. Graining begins with several applications of coarse grits and ends using a small stone with finer grits. The lithostone is ready to draw on. Registration tabs are installed and gum arabic has been applied to the borders. Sketches generate an idea. Photoshop is used to mock up the design, and a color map is created to plan the print. The image is traced onto the stone with red iron oxide transfer paper. Then gum arabic is added to specific areas to not allow drawing materials to adhere to the stone. The drawing begins using lithocrayons applied in stages. Liquid touche is used for the splatter effects, and gum arabic is used in places to isolate the stone from additional image-making materials. Scraping tools are used to make edits and reductions of imagery. The finished drawing is dusted with rosin, then talc, and then lightly buffed. An etch mix of gum arabic and nitric acid is applied. The amount of acid is determined by the grease content of the materials used. Greasier materials need stronger etches. The etch is wiped dry to create a thin film of gum and let rest for several hours, after which the stone is ready to roll up in black ink. Paper is aligned to the pencil marks on the table, torn down, and the registration strips are attached. A punch registration system creates holes in the strips. Pins are aligned to the stone and plates so that the paper and all art elements remain in register throughout print runs. After the first etch, the image is rolled up with black ink and etched again. After the first etch, the stone is placed on the press. Drawing materials are removed with solvent and asphaltum is buffed on. Gum is removed with a wet sponge, leaving the asphaltum. A mix of black ink is rolled out on a slab. Ink is rolled out on the stone in a series of applications, always preceded by sponging on a thin layer of water. This is repeated until the image is fully inked. When the stone is dry, rosin and talc are applied. The second etch is applied and wiped dry to a thin layer. The correct size scraper bar is inserted in the pressure bar on the press and aligned to the edges of the stone, and the pressure is set. Black ink is completely removed with solvent. The color ink is chosen for printing, then a small portion of it is diluted with solvent and buffed onto the stone. Printing the first run. Paper and newsprint have been torn down, a color ink has been chosen, and a clean space is prepared. The press is set up to print and inking begins. Sponging and rolling on the color ink is repeated until the image is fully rolled up, then it is run through the press. Printing begins slowly on newsprint and a few good sheets until the image is fully inked and the final color is determined for the edition. Printing any edition is always a matter of finding a rolling pattern where the amount of ink, the number of passes, and the number of rolls are determined so that you can keep consistent prints throughout the edition. A pass is one visit back to the slab and recharge the roller. Rolls are counted on how many times you pass the roller over the image on the stone or the plate. Sponging is a terribly important component here. The amount of water is as important as the amount of ink. Too much water creates problems. Too little water creates different problems, both of which are to be avoided. Here we're printing 2 sheets of newsprint as a proof. Newsprint is always backed on the carrier sheet, that being good paper or a piece of newsprint. A tympan is then laid upon the press and then run through under printing pressure, which can be adjusted due to the thickness of the stone to the right pressure. Run to the end of the image, press bed is returned, lifted, and tympan is removed. So this is the first proof. Creating transparencies. The stone has been rolled up in black ink again. Then it is talked and gum is wiped tight. It will be edited for a later print run. Ruby list sheets at right and below are cut according to the keyline color map at the left for the 3 color runs. Transparencies have been punched to remain and register to the stone. Red or black areas will become image areas on the plate after the plates used are exposed and processed. An exposure unit uses UV light to transfer the imagery onto the transparency to the photolitho plate. The transparency is aligned to the plate with registration pins and laid on the vacuum table in the exposure unit. Exposure time is set and vacuum is turned on and the exposure begins. The plate is moved to the sink and developed. After developing and processing, it would be ready to print. Printing the second run. The yellow plate is placed on the plate base on the press bed. Ink is rolled out, the plate is sponged and then rolled up. 3 to 4 roller recharges or passes of 4 to 5 rolls on the plate are needed for each print to be fully inked. Note the image on the roller to show that the image is receiving ink. After printing a few newsprint proofs, a good sheet is printed. Color can be adjusted if needed before additioning begins. Printing on plates requires fewer rolls than a stone does, and the plates tend to dry out a little quicker than stones do, so rolling too many rolls will create problems. Printing the third run. The third run color is mixed. The plate is run for this run is exposed with its film and processed as the first plate was. The developed plate is placed on the plate base and inked as the yellow plate was, but with red ink for this run. Printing steps are repeated as in the prior print run. Colors can be adjusted if needed before the addition printing begins. Printing the fourth run. Fourth run's color is mixed, and the plate for this run is exposed with its films and processed as the other plates were. The developed plate is placed on the plate base and inked as the other plates were with blue ink for this run. Printing steps are repeated as in the prior print runs. Editing the stone. The key image stone from the first run is brought out. Editing here is done by removing imagery with etching scraper and razor blades. When finished, a hot etch is applied using much more nitric acid in the gum mix. It is applied to the edited areas to help delete the imagery. Then the gum is wiped tight. Later the stone is washed out with solvent and rolled up in black ink and etched one more time to be sure it is stabilized for the final print run. Printing the final print run. The lithostone is moved to the press and the ink is mixed for the final print run. The stone is washed out with solvent and diluted ink is rubbed in. Water washes off the gum film and the inking begins. The printing steps are repeated as in prior runs. And as always, color can be adjusted if needed. You can see me altering my roller pattern since the roller is smaller than the image. Passes and rolls have to be counted, but also consistency of application, so no area gets more ink than another area does. So you can see placing the pre-printed sheets down with the little registration pins, a newsprint, the tympan, adjusting the pressure, dropping the pressure bar and rolling it through the press, pulling it back out and reversing the process. And here is the final print, both on the press and on the slide to your right.